in a lot of the early articles on the band you see online and in music papers, they always talk about how the band started at jams I was having at my house. But one of the early foreshadowings of what we were going to do, unbeknownst to us, was that when we started taking it a little more seriously and doing these jams at the Elks Lodge out in Stroudsburg, we would go out there and actually try and get 4 or 5 songs together and a little more seriously, rehearse them. And so we were out at an Elks Lodge jam, and we were upstairs in the anteroom rehearsing our little set, and we're up there going over some vocal parts, and we kept going over these harmonies and background parts and stuff. And there was a guy sitting off in the corner, and he just looked up and he said, "What are you guys doing? We're rehearsing for Telluride or something?" And I looked over and I said, "I hope so." And I think it might have been maybe 3 or 4 weeks later we got the word that we were playing Telluride. But he was trying to be, Mr. Wise Guy, but he ended up being right. So in the beginning we'd be riding around in our old red van with our old trailer that we put so many miles on the trailer at one point that we changed both tires on the trailer. We'd actually broken both leaf springs. At one point, we replaced a leaf spring in Laramie, Wyoming, which we didn't realize the guy had put on backwards. So from then on, the trailer just kind of wanted to be out in the other lane the entire time we drove the other 2,000 miles home. Drive around was like 8 or 10 aero beds, because there was always 1 or 2 aero beds that were losing air anyway, and you'd wake up on the floor. But there was 4 of us, 2 hotel rooms with 4 of us in each room, and the little ritual was to, first you had to find the hotel, because they were pretty cheapo hotels, and we had to go seek out this hotel, then drag all your stuff upstairs, and then there was the, lonesome whine of the the air mattress while everybody blew up their little air mattress and staked up their spot, and to which you'd wake up about 4 hours later and realize you were sleeping on cold cement on your side because your air mattress, after another 80 gigs, had finally given it up. So, but I think one of my favorite moments with the hobo sleeping style was when we had a gig playing on the we were doing the lunch set on the deck at the Aspen Mountain ski area, where they threw all our equipment on the chairlift, like swinging up and down to go all the way to the top of the mountain. So we played this gig at noon after driving all day to Aspen, and for some reason they put us up at the Aspen think tank, where they do the World Summit meetings, to which they gave us 2 rooms, and after we pulled our van in and kind of looked both ways, like dragged our mattresses, our beat up old mattresses up into the Aspen think tank so we could stay at the condos, while we were kind of hoping no one really saw we were dragging our mattresses across the parking lot in Aspen. This red van we keep talking about is the end of the red van came one day when we were playing the higher ground in Burlington, Vermont, and we did an opening set with Yonder Mountain String Band, and we got done early, and we thought, it isn't that far to New Jersey. Why don't we just drive home tonight? It seemed like a good idea at the time, and headed out of Burlington after a friend of ours had amazingly fixed our heater fan, which was that was the deciding point. We had heat to drive home, so we decided this would be a good thing. Headed home to New Jersey and got all the way to the border of the New York State Thruway. Pulled off to get some gas. We were really thinking we were too tired. We were going to get a hotel, and we said, "Now let's just press on." So I was driving. I pulled onto the New York State Thruway, and between where we got off and got on, I got on, and the entire highway was just a solid sheet of ice. I mean, the moment I got on it, I knew this was a bad idea. So the moment I got on, I was trying to get off the highway. So I was pulling over to the shoulder, and I looked in the mirror and I saw a truck coming, and I thought, oh, he's got a whole lane and a half to pass me. So I just kept slowly moving to the shoulder, to which suddenly I just felt this incredible crash. Realized I was getting pushed down like a roller coaster down the highway, and all I could think of was like, I just hope this is over soon, and we stopped somewhere, to which we careened down the road, ended up going down an embankment, stopping. There was silence. The van was off, to which I heard the slow hum of the heater motor that was still working. So we had heat even in the ditch. I was almost afraid to turn around to see what was behind me. I turned around and everyone was fine. Amazingly, I could see some broken windows, but everyone in the van was fine. So we established that. I slowly opened the door to look behind me to see that there was a giant semi-truck just looming over us, like practically almost ready to fall on the van. We all made our way out of the van to realize that our trailer was just down the road, completely cracked open with like CDs, amplifiers, bass drum on the highway. Saw that there was maybe 8 or 10 other cars scattered over the highway, and so we're taking our time, thinking we should really establish safety here. To which somewhere the state troopers showed up and just cleaned everything up, told us to gather all our stuff, throw it in the van, and actually said we got to reopen this highway, and threw us back in our own. They towed our van out of the ditch, put us back on the highway, and just sent us up the road in our own beat up van to the hotel, which the van was just kind of going like just completely bent, broken, and we found a half open motel and stayed there for the night until we could gather the rest of our stuff. But I think the trailer saved our life, and amazingly, and luckily everyone was all right. We just lost a couple instruments and cases and things like that. So one thing that really amazes me with the fans that I've only come to realize that now in the 10th year, as I've had just in maybe the last year, I've had a lot of people come up to me where they say, this is so great. I've been following you since '02, and I was at the show in Utah that time at the Hot Springs, and they'll name all these shows where there was probably only 40 people at these shows. I'm thinking, how could I not know this guy or this girl? I mean, and they'll name these amazing shows in the very beginning of the band, and they're still following the band and loving the band. So, I just appreciate the time they put in, and also the fact that they even remember the early shows. I mean, sometimes they've reminded me of stuff that I had to dredge up. So it's good to have them to fill in parts of my life that I've forgotten.